Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kuja Vihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradari, Yashoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana, Jamuna Tiravana Chari, Yashoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana, Jamuna Tiravana Chari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kuja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kuja Vihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Itanamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatati Shatarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaurabhata Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnana Tirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Amilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vancha Kalpya Turubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Continuing reading from Bhagavad-Gita As It Is. We are in the first chapter, observing the armies on the battlefield of the Kurukshetra. Chapter 1, Text 10, purport of the text 10. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima, or Beam. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. Text 11, Ayaneshu cha sarveshu, yata bagan avastita, Bhishmam iva birakshantu bhavanta sarva evahi. Word for word translation, Ayaneshu, in the strategic points, cha also, sarveshu, everywhere, yata bagam, as they are differently arranged, avashtita, situated, Bhishmam, unto grandfather Bhishma, Eva certainly, abhirakshantu, support may be given, bhavanta, all of you, survey respectively, Eva certainly, he, and exactly. Translation, now all of you must give full support to grandfather Bhishma, standing at your respective strategic points in the phalanx of the army. Purport, Duryodhana, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important, So in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishmadev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it is important that other heroes will not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the crews depended on the presence of Bhishmadev. He was confident of the full support of Bhishmadev and Dronacharya in the battle because he knew well that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi in her helpless condition had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to strip naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that all such affection would now be completely given up by them, as was customary during the gambling performances. Okay, so Draupadi, you know, there was a whole gambling scene. There was a whole scene past time where Draupadi, the Pandavas were gambling against the Kauravas or the Kurus, and the Pandavas lost, and then Draupadi was supposed to be stripped naked in the assembly, but Krishna saved Draupadi by supplying her endless sari, because they tried to take off her sari, but Krishna provided an endless amount of sari, so she was never stripped naked in the assembly. Jai Shri Krishna. Text 12. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuru vrida pitamaha simha nadam vinadyo chai shankam danmo pratapavan. Word for word translation. Tasya, his, Sanjanayan, increasing, Harsham, cheerfulness, Kuru Vrida, the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, Bhishma, Pitamaha, the grandfather, Simha, Nadam, roaring sound like a lion, Vinadya, vibrating, Uchai, very loudly, Shakam, conch shell, the Dadmao, blue, Pratapavan, the valiant. Translation. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. Purport. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhan, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed the depressed grandson Duryodhan that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Okay, continuing on, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna, so Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Canto 1, Chapter 7. We are in text 18. Okay, we're reading the word-for-word transliteration, and then the translation, then the purport. Para dravat prana parishur urvyam yavad gamam ruja bayad yataka. Translation, tam him. Apantantum, coming over furiously, sahi, Valakshya, seen, Durat, from a distance, Kumaraha, the murder of the princess, Udvigna mana, disturbed in mind, Ratena, on the chariot, Paradrabat, fled, Prana, life, Parishu, for protecting Urvyam with great speed, Yavat Ganam, as he fled, Rudra Brayat, by fear of Shiva, Yata, as, Ka Brahma, or Akra, Surya. Translation. Ashvatthama, the murderer of the princess, seeing from a great distance Arjuna coming at him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic-stricken just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. Purport. According to the reading matter, either Ka or Arka, there are two references in the Puranas. Ka means Brahma, one who became allured by his daughter and began to follow her, which infuriated Shiva, who attacked Brahma with his trident. Brahmaji fled in fear of his life. As far as Arka is concerned, there are references in the Vamana Purana. There was a demon by the name Vidyun Mali, who was gifted with a glowing golden airplane, which traveled to the back of the sun, and night disappeared because of the glowing effulgence of his plane. Thus the sun god became angry, and with his virulent rays, he melted the plane. This enraged Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva then attacked the sun god, who fled away, and at last fell down at Kashi, Varanasi, and the place became famous as Lolarka. Okay. It's a little pastimes going on with Lord Shiva. Text 19. Yadasharanam Atmanam akshata shranta vajinam ashram brahma shiro mane atma tranam dvijatmaja. Translation: Yada win asharanam without being alternatively protective. Atmanam, his own self. Aikshata sa shranta vajinam, the horse is being tired. Astram, weapon. Brahma shira, the topmost or ultimate nuclear. Mene applied Atma Utranam just to save himself. Dvija Atmaja, the son of a Brahmana. Translation: When the son of the Brahmana Ashvatthama saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, nuclear weapon. Purport: The ultimate issue only when there is no alternative, the nuclear weapon called the Brahmastra is applied. The word Dvijatmaja is significant here because Ashvatthama, although the son of Dronacharya, was not exactly a qualified Brahmana. The most intelligent man is called a Brahmana, and it is not a hereditary title. It's not a hereditary title, my friends. Ashvatthama was formerly called the Brahma Bandhu, or the friend of a Brahmana. Being a friend of a Brahmana does not mean that one is a Brahmana by qualification. A friend or a son of a Brahmana, when fully qualified, can be called Brahman, and not otherwise. You have to be fully qualified to become a Brahmin or whatever. Okay, so it's not based on birth. It's not based on association. It's based on qualification. Since Ashvatthama's decision is immature, he is purposely called herein the son of a Brahmin. Text 20. Ato pas prishya salilam sandande tat samahita ajanan api samharam panakritra upastite. Ata, thus, upas prishya, touching in sanctity. Salilam, water. Sandade, chanted the hymns. Tat, that. Samahita, being in concentration. Ajanan, without knowing. Api, although. Samharam, withdrawal. Pranakritre, life being put in danger. Upastite, being placed in such a position. Translation: Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons. Purport: The subtle forms of material activities are finer than grosser methods of material manipulation. Such subtle forms of material activities are effected through purification of sound. The same method is adopted here by chanting hymns to act as nuclear weapons. So apparently you can chant some mantras and some hymns, and you can make some powerful weapons just by chanting some mantras. It's like some wizard mystical power stuff. It's yeah, that's wild, huh? Right? It's kind of like being a sorcerer or a wizard or something. Chapter 2, prayers. We're reading from Krishna book. Prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. King Kamsa not only occupied the kingdoms of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andaka dynasties and the kingdom of Shurasena, but he also made alliances with all the other demoniac kings as follows: the demon Pralamba, the demon Baka, demon Chanura, demon Trinavarta, demon Agrasura, demon Mushtika, demon Arishta, demon Dravida, demon Putana, demon Keshi, and demon Denuka. At that time, Jarasandha was the king of the Magadha province, known as the present as Bihar state. Thus, by the diplomatic policy, Kamsa consolidated the most powerful kingdom of his time under the protection of Jarasandha. He made further alliances with such kings as Banasura and Bhamasura until he was the strongest. Then he began to behave most inimically toward the Yadu dynasty, into which Krishna was to take his birth. Being harassed by Kamsa, the kings of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Anaka dynasties took shelter in different states, such as the state of the Kurus, the state of the Panchalas, and the state known as Kikaya. Shalva, Vidarbha, Nishada, Videha, Koshala. Kamsa broke the solidarity of the Yadu kingdom as well as the Bhoja and Andaka. He made his position the most solid within the vast tract of land at the time known as Bharavarsh. So Kamsa teamed up with all these demons. Pretty much, he teamed up with all the demons, trying to become the most powerful lord in the world, which is what so many humans try to do, right? They try to be the most powerful lord of the universe. When Kamsa was killing the 6 babies of Devaki and Vasudeva one after another, many friends and relatives of Kamsa approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities. But all of them became worshippers of Kamsa. So people are trying to tell Kamsa not to do this, but then they ended up becoming worshippers of him. Crazy. When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, a plenary expansion of Krishna known as Ananta appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed with both jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful, for she could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb But at the same time, she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being compassionate upon the Yadus, who were fearful due to the atrocities committed by Kamsa, ordered the appearance of Yogamaya, his internal potency. Krishna is the Lord of the universe, but he is especially the Lord of the Yadu dynasty. Yogamaya is the principal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is stated that the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has multi-potencies, Parashar, Shaktir, Vidaiva, Shurate. All the different potencies are acting externally and internally, and Yogamaya is the chief of all potencies. The Lord ordered the appearance of Yogamaya in the land of Brajabhumi in Vrindavan, which is always decorated and full with beautiful cows. In Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudeva, was residing at the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to their fear of the atrocities of Kamsa. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains. The Lord thus informed Yogamaya, under the imprisonment of Kamsa are Devaki and Vasudeva, and at the present moment my plenary expansion Shesha is within the womb of Devaki. You can arrange the transfer of Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan. So Krishna is arranging all his appearance. Since you will appear as my contemporary sister, and since you will quickly satisfy desires for sense gratification, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable presentations, incense, candles, flowers, and offerings of sacrifice. People who are after materialistic perfection will worship you under the different forms of your expansions, which will be named Durga, Bhadra, Kali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika. So people worship Durga or different demigods because they want material benedictions. They want beauty, they want fame, they want wealth, they want things like this. Okay. Finished. Let's chant Hare Krishna, the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma. Let's see. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Sham, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Nitai, Jai Jai Gaur, Jai Jai Shri Damayapur. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari, Gauranga Gauranga. Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, 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 Gauranga, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe. Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe. Radhe Govinda. Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Shama Sundar Radhe. Radhe Radhe Shama Sundar Radhe. Radhe Shama Sundar, Radhe Shama Sundar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Yamuna Devi, Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, Nitai Gora Premanandi Hari Haribo, Jaya Shri Radhe Sham. Hare Krishna. Gauranga.